Welcome to Sobo Radio. We're bringing you booze, reviews, and more. I'm Mike.
I'm Jake, and today we're sitting down with Philip from Wicked Barley Brewing in Jacksonville, Florida.
What's up, guys?
How you doing? Great to have. Thank you for having us in.
Definitely.
Appreciate it.
Definitely.
I guess we want to start off with a little bit about you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How long you've been here, what you're doing.
Yeah. So we opened July 2016, so this July will be open for coming up on 3 years. So we are a brew pub, a classic brew pub, but we also sprinkle in, we're a winery as well, so we make meads and ciders. We typically have about 20 beers on tap at all times. We have a mead slushy machine. We usually will have at least one house cider and one or two meads that are on tap at all times as well. We have a full scratch kitchen, so it's not like bag and drop. We make everything on site. And it's going well, man. The first year was kind of some stumbling blocks because this is the first time myself and my business partner have ran a restaurant, which some people think we're crazy, which we kind of are. But after about year one, we started to figure things out, and things are moving really well now. We're hoping to add another location by the end of this year.
Awesome. Do you know where yet? Or
we're looking at Jax Beach. Let's see, Fleming Island, St. Augustine. Orlando, potentially Savannah. So it's kind of a wide swath at this point.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, do you guys? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you guys been in the restaurant business before that?
No, this is my first time. I mean, I was a cook. Sorry, I'm sweating. I was like doing too much in the back. I was a cook when I was 15. For like 2 years, and I hated it. Somehow that pushed me to get in the restaurant industry. I brought on our executive chef, Brad Soufflone. He has an extensive background. He worked in Vegas for 10 years, so he brings the knowledge on how to run a kitchen, which was really, really big.
Yeah, it's killer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Most of the smaller breweries that we've gone into and the ones down by us, they are all like food truck, come in and grab it. So that's awesome. You can come in here, grab something to eat.
I think the tide is changing because, we are starting to get somewhat saturated. My whole mentality is bring the more the better, but I think we are getting more saturated, and the folks that have a restaurant, if we do take a little bit of a dip in the craft beer segment, those that have a restaurant won't really feel the hurt as much as those that are dependent on just a production
100%.
Mainly.
Yeah. So you guys have an outdoor area, and then so you're right on an actual creek?
Yeah, it's called Goodsby's Creek, and you can get to us from the St. Johns River, which in turn flows to the ocean. So technically you get to us from anywhere. But yeah, we're one of the only craft breweries that we know of in this area that you can get to by boat. So we stumbled on this property. We built it from the ground up. It was just it was vacant for a really long time, and no one thought about putting a brewery in this neighborhood setting. So we lucked out with it.
I think you guys have a enormous space, or at least when you walk up to it, you're like, wow, this is massive. And
yeah,
you have a lot of room in here. It's awesome. You come in, really see what you're drinking. I love all the beer.
Yeah, we almost, I wouldn't say rip the tap board off, but myself and my business partner Tobin, we saw something similar at Green Flash in San Diego with their tap boards, and we wanted to try to recreate a little bit of it. Yeah.
What size system are you guys brewing on?
We have a 15-barrel specific mechanical system, and we have 6 15-barrel fermenters, 2 30-barrel fermenters, and we're about to add another 30-barrel in the next 2 weeks.
And you guys have like a pilot?
We do.
System?
Yeah, we have a 1-barrel Ruby Alpha system that does all our pilots. We also grow all of our yeast here, so we'll buy our yeast in home brew packs and do a 3-stage step up. So the Ruby at the end for step 3, we'll brew a barrel and a half batch into the fermenter, and then the next day we brew on top of it.
That's sweet. That's awesome.
Now, what was the inspiration to do mead and wine on top of beer?
Yeah, so my dad has been home brewing since like 1992-ish. He was doing it before it was cool. His whole standpoint was he wanted to get into it because he was tired of like Michelob and Budweiser on the shelves. And he got into mead making probably in the early 2000s. And all I remember was, man, it was like this 16% crazy. Like, he would always make a raspberry mead, and it was phenomenal. And, he dabbled with ciders as well. And when we were looking at this, we're like, all right, so how are we going to differentiate ourselves? So we're already doing a couple things different. But it was like, man, there's nobody really that has a meadery or a meadery and cidery and a brewery under one roof. So that's why we got into it. And it's cool because it's like, I wouldn't say it's the unknown territory, but for craft brewers, it's still kind of like that sexy thing. Like I love brewing beer, and I've done it, till my hands bleed. But meads and ciders are still kind of new to me, so it's fun, and I can experiment more. So it seems like the stakes are a little bit less. Some of our pilot meads, we do them in open top, like bins. So every day I can open the top and degas it. And if that was a beer, that would be horrific. And some of my brewers in the back are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "No, it's okay. Oxygen's okay at this stage." So it's been fun. And, just to be honest, like meads and ciders, that's a segment that females really enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's been good because, ultimately, if more females show up to the bar, guys are going to kind of follow. So it's been working out well, and, it's taking off for us.
For sure. What do you think your favorite beer on tap is? We ask everybody. We put them all in a corner. We just got to ask.
That's a loaded question. So I'm a hop head. I've got hops tattooed all over me. But it's our double stout, the Jeffrey. Back in the day when we were starting to plan this business, like in 2012, I think, I want to say Great Divides, Yeti was like our favorite stout. And I always wanted to try to recreate that. And, this isn't to the T, but it took 3 years at least to get it right. It's an oatmeal. It's a double American stout, but it's an oatmeal stout. And we have to do a double mash, so it's a long brew day because there's so much grain. And if you mess up, if you mess up that beer, it's going to be over bitter. So you got to be on your game. And when it turns out well, it's really rewarding.
Gotcha. Anything else?
Yeah, I was. So what kind of? I mean, you guys got a cool place here. What kind of clientele do you have coming in? I mean,
yeah, like we're all over the map. Like a lot of people will ask me that. Like, what's my demographic? Man, it goes from little kids aren't buying food, but or food and drink, but we'll have families with 3 kids running around the beer garden. 30-year-olds with disposable income, all the way up to like 80-year-olds. Like we have some. If you guys are here till 11, we have some regulars that are here like every day, right when the doors open, and they're sitting at the bar. Yeah, so it's all across the map, which is great. So we're not kind of pigeonholed into that one segment.
I think something that I enjoy about you guys is your branding. I think your branding's on point. Did
Thank
you
you.
guys have anything that kind of had a special role in that, or
Yeah.
was it more or less you just messing around, or?
No, I think we're all on a budget, right? Like starting these breweries, it's bootstrapping, trying to figure out how to make it work. But I read I forgot the name of the book, but the book on like how Brooklyn Brewery started the brewery.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, and they devoted a whole chapter to branding, and they spent probably $10,000 to $15,000 on one label, Brooklyn Lager, and they hammered home the point that this is your one shot to get folks in the door. So like I kind of cringe when I see other breweries will like web scrape a meme for a label or their branding logo. So we sought out probably the best designer in Jax, Patrick Carter, and we worked with him pretty extensively to get the logos right that kind of transform across all offerings here.
That's awesome. Did you guys? So for how many beer labels do you guys have that are actually?
Well, so we probably have about 15 to 20, and we have a few more that we're developing. We're still not canning. I hope to at some point buy a canning line. Mobile canning right now is just not really economic for us. So we do a lot of crowlers. Crowlers we're slinging pretty well. So if we do a special release or we create a brand that has legs, we'll create a label for it.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of keeping that going, did you work with that same designer on designing the interior here? Or?
We would have loved to. We still have some finishing touches we want to put in here because like we have some white walls, which we hate. It just came down to when we were undercapitalized and we had to like scrub our design team and just kind of do this ourselves. So location 2 will be a little bit more polished, and we're still trying to bring this one up to par. But yeah, I mean, we wanted to just tie in like the wood theme outside, tie it in the creek feel in here. So
I know you said your dad was homebrew in '92.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what got you into it, or did you
Yeah.
have the itch? Or?
No, absolutely. I probably started. Well, I used to steal his beer when I was like 18 and 19 because it was like, again at the time there wasn't a ton of craft beer out there, so it's like, hey guys, I got this stout that's like 6%. They're like, what? So anyway, maybe I want to say my sophomore year in college, and I'm going to date myself. I'm a dinosaur. I think it was like 2001. I started paying attention to what he was doing and helping him out when I was back home. And it's just, it's really cool because everything has a reason for it happening. So if you don't pay attention during your sparge or you don't pay attention during your lauder, your gravity's going to be off. And if you don't grow up your yeast right and treat it right, your ABV is going to be, off. So that really appealed to me. And then just getting to be able to create something with your hands that people enjoy is really rewarding. Myself and my business partner come from an IT background, so we're sitting on our butts all day, basically under fluorescent lights, hating our lives. So being able to brew beer and make people happy is really what catapulted us into doing this.
So what is your best food item?
So an appetizer people go crazy for, it's our cheese curds. So a lot of restaurants will basically repackage mozzarella cheese and bread it and call it a cheese curd, but that's a cheese stick. Myself and my chef are from Milwaukee, so we knew we had to get like real curds, so we ship them from Nasonville Creamery in Wisconsin, and they're fried or they're battered in house and fried, and we serve it with like ranch and jalapeno ranch. It's very healthy for you. But we sell a ridiculous amount of it. I don't think I've had them in a month because I had to cut back because it's putting on a ton of weight. But yeah, they're insane. And our burgers sell really well here too.
Something's kicking up back there, and I was just like, I have to ask because it smells delicious.
Yeah, thank you.
How often are you guys like canning or using the growler? You think that's just going to be the next thing over the 64-ounce growlers, or is it?
Yeah, I mean the 32-ounce growlers or the 25-ounce growlers are what our branded ones are. We have 32s above that. I really like the 25 because that's one you can easily pretty much drink yourself.
That's
right?
a short stout one.
Yes, they're in the takeaway cooler. Our blood drive is in there. So it's kind of. You can share it with a friend. I wouldn't. Yeah, it gives you like 1.5 drinks basically. But the 32 ounce is going really well as well. We were somewhat cautious when we installed the growler machine, but it's taken off and it's way more popular than growlers.
Yeah, everybody seems to have them now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's kind of a must.
It's kind of the other thing. It keeps it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing.
And we found we'll do like special one-off releases where we fill like 100 and we put them in the cooler. And we're like, it's here until it's gone. That's worked out really well for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of events are you guys doing outside? Like musicians or?
It's nonstop, man. we probably try. We try to do 2 events per month. Our next big event is Easter.
Okay.
So we have we're family friendly, especially outside because kids can run around and burn energy. So Easter's going to be insane. We're going to have an Easter bunny and Easter egg hunt. Last year, if you could find the video when we released the kids for the Easter egg hunt, it looked like a bunch of like little crabs crawling on the ground. It was insane. And then we have a Cinco de Mayo party coming up. We're actually going to do it on May 4th because Cinco falls on Sunday this year. But yeah, we try to do, like I said, 2 events per month. It's good because it typically pulls in a lot of people that have never been here before because our social media reach is getting pretty good. And yeah, we'll do live music outside. We'll usually do a beer release, one-off pilots, and then like a food special as well.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. No, I was going to ask about events. So
So then I guess I got one more for you.
Yeah.
What do you notice when your customers come in that they're more intelligent about like the ingredients you guys are using, or they're more curious about what you're using, or do they know, do they not know?
I think it's a mix, which is good to me because I'm very passionate about craft beer. That's my life, and I've made a choice for that to be my life. But also, I didn't want to be the snobby craft beer bar. I want them both, and we have a lager called Left Leg Lager, and it's our answer to Budweiser. And this location, we get a fair amount of people that come in. They're like, "What do you have? Tastes like Miller Lite and Bud Light."
right.
If you go to a real true craft beer bottle shop or other locations, they'll throw you out. But here it's like, look, man, try this. It's actually made in your backyard. It's not owned by a foreign entity. And that's sort of their gateway. And it's cool to see some of those customers where they start out saying, what do you have that tastes like Bud Light? and you can see them start with Left Leg, and then they start to progress to other beers. It's like, yes, I got them. But yeah, I mean, it's a mix, and our staff does a really good job of educating people. We do pre-shifts every day, and we talk about the new beer or the new food that's going out. We test our employees on menu items, and we also have an app called I think it's called like Dolce, that we can send anytime I have a new beer. We can send a blast text to everybody saying, hey, this is on tap today, here's the taste notes, here's what it is, the style, ABV, make sure you try it before your shift starts so you can educate the customers.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It helps.
Now, do you guys have a beer that's like hands down your best seller that you guys are just rolling through?
So Left Leg Lager crushes it, and it used to be our double IPA, the Eradicator. That's a plug to Kids in the Hall if you guys have ever seen Kids in the Hall. But our number 2 beer right now is Blood Drive. It's a blood orange IPA, and it's probably about 15 IBUs. That's it. The rest of the bitterness comes from we fresh zest 3 cases of oranges, and then we add I want to say 50 gallons of blood orange puree, and we dry hop with that. We'll recircuit for like 4 hours. Afterwards, it comes out. I mean, it's a juice bomb, and it's kind of a different spin on it.
Right.
Because I love New England's, and I'm still trying to perfect the best New England. And a lot of that juiciness is obviously derived from the hop load and the way you're dry hopping and whirlpooling. This is from fresh citrus, and we're in Florida, so it makes sense. Yeah, that is. I can't keep it on tap. It's on tap today, and then another one, not to chew y'all's ear off, but another one, it's called Effing A. I'm not going to cuss, but that's a session IPA. We just won a silver at Best of Craft Beer Awards in Oregon for it. Yeah, thank you. It's 4.9%, 40 IBUs, and it's crushable, man. It drinks like a big beer. That's off right now. It's gone in about 2 weeks, a 15-barrel batch. It's insane. Like, we're now upping that production to a 30-barrel tank just to be able to keep up. So those 3 are pretty nuts. But we have some that if it's not on tap and our regulars come in, they like give me crap for it. It's like, look, man, I've got like 8 tanks and 20 taps. Like, sometimes something's gonna fall off for a week.
What about distribution?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the meat of our business is brew pubs, and like I mentioned, we're looking to expand because taproom sales is where it's at. It really is. Distro, they take so much off the top. But for us, like, we're looking at about a 25% ratio of distro for our business. It's nice because it's a separate revenue stream, and it's doing wonders for us branding. Yeah. We're distroed pretty much throughout the state of Florida now. Our cider Happy Medium, it's 7%. It's like a good blend between sweet and dry. That's statewide. And then our double IPA, the Eradicator, statewide.
And then you guys, local bars, everything.
Yeah, we're expanding our footprint, local bars, restaurants. It's somewhat of a challenge because we're under a great distributor, Cavalier. They're independent, which I love. I'm not really cool with being under a Bud or Miller House as my distributor. So those guys usually lock down all the tap lines when a new restaurant opens. So we've got to work, and we've got a rep, Chris on site, who's doing a phenomenal job. So when we get a tap handle, especially a permanent tap handle, it's like, yeah, we beat the big guys. But it's expanding, man, and it's going well. Was being independent one of the big factors for you choosing your absolutely? I mean, we're the only craft brewery in Jacksonville that Cavalier represents, and they represent some really good brands like Eddie from MIA. I met at CBC last week, and we had a really good talk. And they're a great brewery, so we're hoping to do a collab with them. So them having MIA was a huge point. But yeah, just being independent, man. So they wrapped a truck for us, and whatever the other guys are doing, it's clearly working for them. So I'm not poo-pooing them, but it's really cool when we have our truck and there's not like a Budweiser logo on it or a Miller logo on it. So that's important to me. But like what I tell other breweries that are coming up, this is what we chose to do. That doesn't necessarily mean it's right for you. And I'm not going to look down on you, but this is the reason why we went this way. This is my opinion, and whatever is best for you. The ultimate, it's how do you keep your business open and how do you succeed? But yeah, being with Cavalier was very, very important to us.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, and it's definitely a big thing for the craft community is, keeping the money in the local community and giving back that way. So that's
Yep.
I think the segue you had too, excuse me, was the collabs. Have you guys done one before?
Yeah, we did our first one. We've been so to back up. Another thing that makes us unique is we RO our water here. Jacksonville has some of the worst water in the nation, and as you guys know, 90% of your glass is water when you're drinking a beer. So we're pretty guarded about going off site, especially in Jacksonville if they are not ROing, because it's going to change the recipe, man. It really is. So we partnered up with a new brewery called Fishwire. They're in Murray Hill. We brewed a beer for one of the local Jacksonville clubs or Jacksonville fan clubs, and we called it Duval Till We Die. That was Bold City Brigade. Sorry, I had a brain fart. It was a black lime Mexican lager, so it was crazy. We fresh zested 2 cases of limes, added it at Whirlpool, and it was nuts. There was a little hint of chocolateness, chocolatey roastiness, just a small amount, and it was crushable. And then at the back end, you got a lime bomb. So we did that. We just partnered up with Grasslands out of Tallahassee. We're doing a lemon cake Berliner that's in the tank right now. Again, more my brewers hate me, but I'm a freak when it comes to fresh zest, so fresh lemon zest is in there. I'm looking to hopefully do one with MIA. I really want to do one with Collective Arts out of Canada.
Yeah, they are so
Dude,
cool.
they are crushing
awesome.
it. I met some of them at Hunapoo, and believe it or not, my distributor is actually distributing some of their cans in Florida and throughout, so I'm hoping to get with them because they're doing some really cool things,
and they
man.
have crazy artwork on all
I
their
love
cans.
it.
It's so cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, our branding's a little bit more guarded than that, but I wish sometimes I wish I could do stuff like that because it's so cool, man.
There's really no one else doing anything like that. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, I hope to continue to expand. Southern Swells is doing RO. We met last year and talked about doing a collab. It just didn't work out because at the time we were just swamped. But yeah, we hope to expand that a little bit more because it's good for both sides. It's good brand awareness for both, and you learn new stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. I want to open up the floor to you, maybe. Anything you want to get out there, let anybody know?
Yeah, I mean, for everybody that's out there that's, it seems like everybody I know is thinking about starting a craft brewery, which is a good thing, because if you're homebrewing, that's a passion, and you love to drink like us. But just do your homework, get some experience on the production side, because homebrewing is nothing like production brewing. Take it from me, because I came from homebrewing, and I kind of miss that. Yeah. I miss being able to mash in and just sit in a lawn chair and drink. This is 8 to 10 hours of manual labor that sometimes is backbreaking. But yeah, just get experience on that side, read up, and find what differentiates you in the marketplace. Because if you're just going to open up a craft brewery or a bottle shop, you're not going to succeed. You've got to find, like, what is your angle to compete or even, win. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing. And yeah, just continue to ask questions, because with big beer buying up craft breweries, a lot of that's hidden still, and always look for that, independent craft label. For sure. If it's all on draft, if you're in-house, especially some locations maybe in Asheville, ensure that they have the independent seal on their door before walking in. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's important because, again, like big conglomerates buying people like us up is, their rebuttal is, oh, well, we're going to keep everything the same, but it's not, because, say, Budweiser, they can source those ingredients on the cheap. Yeah. So those folks can now produce a beer that we can't compete with because we don't have those established resources in place. So you're actually hurting us. So just be mindful of that, especially the craft brew shops out there. Like, always ask questions. Hey, is this an independent brewery? Oh, I don't know. Well, don't put it on. Or, no, it's under these guys. Well, please don't put it on, because it's not helping any of us.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, once again, Philip, we appreciate for having us up here.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was great. Social media tags.
Yeah, definitely. Instagram handle,
Yeah.
Facebook, website.
Yeah, wickedbarley.com, and, Instagram, just hashtag wickedbarley. You can find us on Facebook as well. I've shunned Facebook, so I feel free. But yeah, just just search Wicked Barley on Facebook and you'll find us. We're on Twitter too. So yeah, I mean, we we've got a pretty good social media presence. We've got a full-time social media director, marketing director, and she's killing it. So our presence is really growing out there. So you can easily
Huge.
find us. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, we
let's-
appreciate it.
Yeah, wrap it up. Wicked Barley Brewing, Jacksonville, Florida. And as always, drink local.
Yep. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Phil.
Perfect.
Awesome, man. Guys, I